we're living in a digital gold rush, and there are a lot of opportunities in this industry, and there is a lot of growth, potential growth for many people. So I know you're one of the people that I've seen like around this space that you've been hustling, you've been trying to create your own things. So what was your story getting into this like space?
So first of all, I appreciate the kind words. In terms of the digital gold rush itself, you're talking about the online era now, right?
Yes.
Everything's digital. Perfect. So dive right into it, bro. I mean, my experience started off very young. Again, I'm sure plenty of people followed this path as well. We all used to play games, whether it be laptop, PlayStation, whatever you were doing back in the day, right? So obviously, what were the biggest role models of our time when we were in that space, right? Who would we look up to? We would look up to these YouTubers that would be playing these games, these people that were living. There wasn't no Miami driving a Lambo sort of seeing how the world is now when it comes to digital age. It was more, oh, okay, this guy's trolling people or this guy's playing this new game. Everything was very, very childish, very 2010, but it was wholesome. The same sort of feeling you get now when you watch these things. So where it's inspirational, like, oh, this guy might be where I want to be in that video game. So you're looking up to him. It's just not directly in a real life sense how it is more now. So I think that's where the digital age started for a lot of people. It's they were playing these video games. You look up to these people, obviously. You see, like, oh, these guys are making money. These guys have other people watching them. Everyone wants to sort of be the best, right? It's inherent in human nature, especially when it comes to guys, that you want to be the best. So what people would do in that time was start a YouTube channel, right? Start streaming. Part of which what I did. So my very first thing, obviously, is the same life path as everyone is playing Fortnite, bro. I started streaming, started a YouTube channel. So I would do Fortnite, Minecraft, all the basic shit. I mean, you've heard it a million times. So that's kind of where I first dipped my toe into it. I would start streaming. I think I did some basic PlayStation lives, like the terrible quality ones, but I would get in some viewers. I think my highest stream I had like 256 people at one point. I was the happiest guy on earth. It gives you this sort of life energy, bro. You feel alive when you have other people with you. It's like I'm playing with 256 people behind my back. You know what I mean? It's a different sort of feeling. So that was kind of my first introduction to it. It's when I really got my first rush. And then from there, I've just been in love with content and making, creating since then.
Yeah, that's a story that I feel like a lot of people are gonna resonate, like the video games and all those YouTubers and stuff. Like I was personally inspired by other YouTubers too, so it's something that like, especially with the content itself, it's like anybody can be inspired or get ideas from anybody, basically from any part
The
of the world.
the thing is, bro, is there's always someone like you, right? There's always someone that thinks like you, acts like you, has the same hobbies that you. Before everything was so online, it was hard to meet those kind of people. We're in a little village in the Middle East somewhere. I don't know if you're over here right now, like you're across the country right now. We would have never met. You know what I mean? So what this new digital age did is made it so simple for us to find people that are on the same wavelength as us. So where now all we got to do is scroll on reels. We find someone who has the same goals and dreams, and boom, instant connection, right? Obviously, it's not as natural as a genuine human connection, but now you trust that guy, you look up to that guy, you have a role model. It simplified things, and it made it so much easier to find someone you look up to and gain ideas and knowledge from, which then turned a lot of people onto their own social media journeys.
Yeah, it's definitely a tool that a lot of people can use, because you can literally, let's just say, you can build a business on top of that. You can even make friends. You can use it for dating. It's a very versatile tool. Like I feel like a lot of people should be using more, and I feel like it's going to be like a good segue to the next topic that we're going to talk about, is like kind of like, should people make content? Is it for everybody, in your opinion?
Yeah. So in terms of making content, should people make it? A million percent. Now, when I say should people make it, it doesn't have to be literally me to you, how we're talking right now, when we're recording a video. I don't even need to be in the frame. But should people create something online or have a digital presence? Yes, because there is no way to live without it. The world we live in now no longer runs on money. I made a video on this actually a little bit ago. The world we live in, it doesn't run around money anymore. Before it was, oh, you have $10, you're the richest guy on the block. Now it's, oh, you have 10,000 followers, you're the coolest guy on the block. So now the whole world runs on the attention and the sort of gathering, the amount of people that you can gather around you and to follow you on certain things. So when it comes to creating content, absolutely you should. I think a lot of people, if you have that sort of extroverted or like energy to you to where you want other people to see, you should definitely create it. I think there's always someone in the world who relates to you, to where you could be one of the weirdest people on earth in my eyes, but I'm sure there's definitely other weird people that relate to you and they're like, oh, okay, like this guy's also a weirdo. Or to them, it's, oh, this guy's also normal. So there's always someone like you, bro. You can always attract the audience online. If you don't want your face on there, I've seen people do voiceovers, right? You can react to clips, you can do voiceovers. Everyone has something they love. You kind of just take that passion and you fuel it with whatever you want to do, but you definitely need to create content, even if that be as simple as creating online cartoons where nothing about you is ever going to be shown.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's just say someone who doesn't want to be a creator, or like they don't necessarily want to grow an audience, but they still want to put something out there to maybe demonstrate who they are. What's like a good way to go about it?
Yeah, bro. So I would say, and I always say this: there's no one way to do things, right? I think everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own passions, obviously. So it kind of just depends. If you are on that journey to where you're like, oh, okay, I want to create content, but I don't really want it to be about me, or I don't really want to show my face. I don't want to be known like that. I don't want to be popular. What you should do is find out one, what is the thing you like, right? What is that passion for you? So what is something you can devote your time into? Two, how can you turn it into content? So let's take a random example, right? Let's say you really like playing the guitar and you don't want your face on it, but you're just an amazing guitarist. What you can do is literally just make guitar instrumentals. You could put it over a video game. You could put it over like a podcast clip. You could have someone else go out and shoot your content if you want to promote your music. Like I'm sure you've seen a bunch of the modern day of music sort of promotion is like they'll go on a Kai Cenat stream and they'll blast their music. You know what I mean? So something as simple as that to where you can have someone literally go out and make a skit where it's you point of view, no face on there. And let's say you don't even want to show your face or your voice, or you don't even want to be involved in that. You could do something completely digital where you kind of just do a lesson on, oh, how to play the guitar string I played, something like that, right? And now you're showing off your skills, anything along those lines. So it all just depends on per talent. And there really is different ways to play it depending on what you want to do. And there's an audience, like I said, for anything.
Yeah, I feel like with content itself, like I noticed anything can be content. Like literally, you can just take a picture, put like a sentence, and then it can get like millions of views. It's that easy.
It's so crazy the way the world works now is like one day someone made a video dipping their face in a bucket of ice and now the whole world is going crazy. This guy has grown 8 million followers in the last couple months. It's a crazy thing how people catch on to one thing, and the way that it works a lot with social media is pattern recognition, bro. It's inherent in every human's nature is to realize patterns and to adapt to them. If I see you every day on my way to school, I will talk to you eventually one of those days, right? It's kind of like how you're in the gym and you make a new friend. You walk the first day, you see him, maybe you look at him. The next day, you give him a little head nod. The third day, you're like, "What's up?" The fourth day, you're like, "Oh, what's up, bro?" Like, what are you hitting? You know what I mean? And that kind of sort of just builds. How does that work? It's all pattern recognition. It's the same thing when it comes to social media in the sense of where when people are creating content, they'll see the same thing over again. Oh, okay, it went into your subconscious and inspired me. Boom, you watch something similar. Okay, that inspired me. And once they see it enough times, it now formulates their own idea to where they spin it in their own way and actually create it for themselves. And it continues to add to that funnel. So it's a never ending cycle, really.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's a great example that you brought with that ice bucket videos and stuff. Because like I see so many people do it now. Like it's like dads with their kids, just other fitness creators. It's just a trend just went like crazy viral, and everybody's doing it now. You know.
Yep. Even like a thing with like the Cho guy a couple months ago. They have these little things here and there they'll poke out, and it's very interesting how the world catches on to something completely unrelated, and the next thing you know, like you're a lifetime celebrity, like people know you now. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure you've seen too at the end of last year the kid that was going boom 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 something like that. That kid went on stream with Neon Sneeko. Like this guy's streaming with some of the biggest names on earth, all because he made a couple TikToks saying the word boom. So it's crazy how the world works, and you should never count yourself out. You should always create, no matter what it is. And a big thing I've seen, just on that note of creators, is people are very afraid to be judged when it comes to creating content. Like they wonder, oh, what are this person gonna think? Like I don't want my people at school to say this. The truth is, bro, you can't be afraid to be judged by people you don't want to be like. You know what I mean? If you don't want to be like the kid that's sitting there talking trash to everyone on the internet, so oh, this guy's content's trash, he's not doing anything himself. At the end of the day, you can't be afraid to be judged by them, and you can't let that limit you.
100%, man. Because I've seen, I'm pretty sure you've gotten those comments too. But like personally, for me, I've gotten people that they were like making music, they were making videos for themselves. But like, I asked them like, "Oh, why don't you put it out there?" You know, like they're like, "Oh, I'm not really like, I'm not an expert. I don't want to put myself out there." But then meanwhile, they were hating on me because I shared something for myself.
That's another thing, bro. A lot of people are more perfectionists over progression. People love the fact that like, oh, I'm not ready because it's not perfect. Oh, I didn't. This one little thing is missing, so I'm not going to post this. It's literally just a mental excuse someone makes to get out of doing something, right? At the end of the day, perfection is never real, and on the road to perfection, the closest you'll ever be to perfection, you won't get there unless you do it in the first place. So a lot of people have this sort of notion that, oh, the content I put out needs to be great, it needs to go viral. Your first clip doesn't need to go viral, your 100th clip doesn't need to go viral, and your third clip could. You know what I mean? You never know this type of stuff. All it really comes down to is the fact that you have to do as much as you know, as much as my knowledge. This is what I know. I will do my best and post that day. And the only way to sort of grow and learn off of that is by posting it every day. So the more you post, the more you learn off of it, the more you evolve, and eventually you will get as close to perfection as you physically can.
100%. I feel like you probably had the same experience, that you didn't necessarily were focused on like a specific result or a certain number of view. You had like a commitment to the progress, commitment to the process, and then over time you just got there.
I mean, how many times do you hear it, bro? You have to love the journey. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. You have to love the journey. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to the process, bro, when I first started creating content, I was terrible. I mean, I even I have them all archived now because I can't even have them on the page. I'm so embarrassed. But when you look at them, I mean, even if it comes to simple things like talking on camera, I was freezing. I was robotic. There was no like passion. You know, like even now we have a little bit of energy going back and forth. That wasn't there. I would speak like a robot reading off a script. You don't get the flow until you actually do it. And it's all repetition, bro, with anything in life, especially when it comes to content. So the only way to really level up on social media as you're doing it is to do it over and over again. So you need to mess up if you actually want to end up creating good content ever.
Facts, just like anything else. You just got to show up, make the mistakes, learn, go on, right?
That's all it is, bro. LeBron wasn't one of the best basketball players by walking in on his first day. You know what I mean? It's all repetition.
Tens of thousands of shots, you gotta like miss some of them to make a lot of them.
You're gonna miss all of them, brother. And the thing is, too, is people also have a very limiting mindset where they shoot for something very low. Like I've talked to some friends in the past, and they're like, "I'm gonna start creating content, bro. Like I just want 10,000 views." The thing is your goal shouldn't be 10,000 views. People think too much with that limiting mindset. There's a saying, right? Shoot for the stars, land on the moon. You need to sort of shoot to points that your brain can't even imagine, to where you're like, I'm gonna hit the 100 million views with this, and it might be the crappiest video in your head, and all those doubts are gonna be like, bro, this is trash, this isn't good, like this isn't gonna do well. But when you start to think like that, and you start thinking everything I'm gonna post needs to hit 100 million views, you'll start to tailor the content in a way to where it can hit 100 million views. And you're not gonna get 100 million, but you'll get 100,000, you'll get a million. You know what I mean?
Now that makes sense, because if you're shooting basically for like the lower amounts, you're not gonna really exceed it. Your expectation is gonna
You'll
exceed
go
it.
even lower. You'll never go as high as you really expect to. If I expect to hit $1,000 today, I'm not going to hit $1,000. If I expect to hit $10,000 today, I'll probably surpass that $1,000 because my actions will be based off of the fact that I'm aiming for 10K rather than 1,000.
Yeah, I'm sure you heard they say like what you expect is what you get.
Yep, literally. And people lack the mindset aspect a lot. It's 90% of this game is mindset, man. And a lot of people give up as well on social media because they'll post and they don't see the views coming in. Oh, I'm still not famous. Oh, I didn't hit my influencer status. Bro, I know people who have been posting for 7 years straight, working their 9 to 5s on the side. They started in high school all the way until they blew up 8 years later. It's all a matter of, you have to love the journey, bro. That's what it is. You have to love the fact that you're waking up every day, you created the content and you posted it. And even more than that, you need to love that even if it hit 1,000 views, that's 1,000 people in the room that I inspired today. That's 1,000 people that actually took something away from me. And even if all of them didn't listen, there's at least 1 or 2 people from that crowd that actually listened to you and gained value from you, whether that be laugh, they got some inspiration, they got back to work, they went to the gym today, anything it may be when it comes to your content. But at the end of the day, you were able to leave that impact, and that impact will only grow once you start to enjoy it.
Yeah, man, it's like we gotta be grateful for the small things, because if you're not able to leave an impact for 5 people, 10 people, 50 people, you're not gonna be able to leave an impact for 100,000 people or 1 million people. Like it starts with
Absolutely.
the small groups first.
Yep. You need to influence someone, bro. And the thing is like a lot of times people have a notion to where they're not doing anything if no one's commenting or no one's liking. The thing is, bro, everyone's watching this stuff. You know what I mean? People would inherently not like your reel or not like your post just because they don't want to come off as like, oh, I don't want to be seen that I'm relating to this. Let's say you make content and it's something like sad, right? Like, oh, to all the people having a bad March, something along those lines. Let's say I had a terrible March, but I'm not going to like it because I don't want to be shown in that group, or I don't want to be like, you don't want to have that sort of ego complex to where, oh, I'm learning from this guy, which is why a lot of people will avoid it. But I promise you, out of everyone that's watching that content, a lot of them are actually resonating with it and actually taking something away. And you'll never know what sticks. I mean, everyone has their own experience to where they remember something off of anything random in social media. Like I remember things I've seen a year ago, and you read a certain quote in a reel and it sticks with you forever. So you could be that thing for someone else, to where something you say or something you do will stick with someone else forever and change their life pretty much.
Yeah, I feel like, for example, for me, I noticed like some of the content, I mean, not even some, most of the content, they get like not a lot of likes, but they get crazy shares. I don't know who's sharing it, but like it's like they're not getting the likes on the comments. It's just crazy shares. So people
It's
are noticing it, they're feeling an impact, but it's like they're not choosing to engage with it in a positive way. It's just like sharing it, like I don't know where it goes, you know.
it all comes down to a ego thing, at least in my opinion. I think a lot of times it's the fact that people don't want to be seen liking that content, like, oh, I like this stuff. You know what I mean? So they won't ever admit it because they think, again, it's the fear of being judged. They're fear that, like, what if my boy sees it and I like this post about me being romantic with my girlfriend and I'm going to be made fun of in the group chat. It's kind of just that sort of complex to where they'll like it and they'll listen to it and they'll take something from it, but they'll never show you, because if they show you, then it feeds into it takes away from their ego. It's like, oh, I'm learning for someone else. You know what I mean?
100%, man. Like with content in general, again, like it takes, time for people to kind of see your impact, see your vision. Like for you, was it like a quick thing that you noticed, like you quickly blew up, or you quickly made like huge impact, or you achieved the goal with the social media stuff, or it took you like a while for you to get there?
I'm still not at the point where I want to be, bro. I mean, I'm nowhere. I got 2,000 followers right now. I do a lot of social media stuff for a lot of big brands, a lot of big creators that you probably all heard of and everyone watches. But at the same time, I'm not where I want to be in terms of content, right? So in terms of a big jump, bro, I mean, it doesn't work until the day it does. So what you'll see a lot of times is you'll hit 1,000 views, 1,000 views, 1,000 views, maybe even hundreds, and you'll hit them consistently for a month or two, and then boom, out of nowhere, one video will blow up, right? So you never know what the time is. So the mindset you sort of have to think of it about is every day I post could be the day that my life changes, right? Every day I post could be the day that I hit that 100 million view mark and everyone starts messing with me and my life is completed. Because in reality, all it takes is one. All once you get that one video in, you can ride that wave, you ride that momentum. You're now in the algorithm, and then people build that pattern around you to where they're like, okay, this video is associated with this guy. So every time they see it, anyone that messed with it the first time will mess with it the second, and so forth. So it's all the mindset of by the day, bro. Every day I post, I think to myself, this could be the day, this could be the video that blows up and changes my life. And once you start to think like that, one, the days go by a lot quicker. Two, you'll get there before you know it, bro, because you're really sitting there thinking about it as like a gamble almost every day. Like, oh, is this today? Is this today? Is this today? And it kind of gives you something to look forward to every day.
Yeah, it's like as you said, it's just every day you gotta post, post, post. I noticed with me, it's basically what you said. Like you get a couple hundred views, couple thousand views, and then one just goes crazy, and then like suddenly a huge wave of people come through your accounts or whatever. So I definitely can relate to that because I noticed kind of like both sides of the spectrum because I had like a older brand that I just recently came back to, and that account like quickly grew it like tens of thousands of followers, and it's like, oh, like everything is like this. I can grow it fast. And then with my
Yeah.
personal brand, it's like when you start, you post for like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. There's nowhere near like growth like that. It's just like very periodically. Sometimes you gain like 200-300 followers, and it kind of slows down. So I've been
Yeah.
like both sides of the spectrum. So like everything you said is like fully like true because like you just got to focus on posting and understanding that this video can make all the difference.
And another thing is, bro, the faster it comes, the faster it goes. To where ideally, if you started posting today, it would actually be against your benefit for you to blow up tomorrow and get those views that you want. Because what's going to happen is, let's say I just made an account today, I posted my first video, and I hit 100 million views. Now those people know nothing about me. They just resonated with that one video once. And as fast as they came, they're all going to leave because I have no brand, I have no foundation, I have no repetition, I haven't been doing this for some time. You know what I mean? And you'll see it a lot of times with, let's say, streamers, right? To where they'll blow up overnight one day, and then the next week, like, no one even hears about them anymore because they're done. That's it. Their time is up. So it's actually better in most cases to build slowly because it'll actually stay. And when you build slowly, you'll get those long term people that are really committed to you all the time. And that when you take that next step in social media, when it comes to monetizing, building a platform, and building a community of that sort, those will be the people that showed up every day before you hit the 100 million view mark that will actually resonate with you the most.
Basically building that catalog of your content.
Yep. You need to have a foundation, bro. It's like, how are you going to put a branch on the tree with no base? You know what I mean? And all you can't have all these, you can't have a million branches and there's no stem in the middle. That's just how it is. So you need to kind of build that up for yourself. Obviously, I'm not saying it's a bad thing if you get views as you're building. That's amazing. That means you're on the right track. But you ideally don't want your first video to hit 100 million, because after that, people are like, okay, but who is this guy? You know what I mean? They'll go click on your page. You only have 3 posts. They're like, oh, like, this is just a guy that posted a meme once and it went well. Like, why would I follow him? Whereas if they go on your page and they're like, oh, this guy has this business related to this content and he's had 300 posts, like he's been doing this for some time, it gives you credibility, it gives you trust, and it gives someone a role model to look forward to.
Yeah, 100%. That catalog takes time, and I feel like when people are able to go back in time and say, "Oh, like this guy, yeah, like 50 subscribers or something, he was posting, like he's changed, he's grown." Like that journey basically shows a lot about yourself and who you are.
Yep, 100% agree, bro.
And I feel like I noticed with this with a lot of different brands and creators, some of them get huge audiences and maybe not a lot of views and stuff, but like I feel like monetization is like a big aspect of this social media game. And no matter which level you're at with the follower game and the views game, some people struggle no matter how many views they get. So how did you go about that, like monetizing content in general?
Well, I mean, the first thing is, bro, monetizing is always the end goal. You know what I mean? And no one wants to sit there on on 100 million views and do nothing with it, right? Because at the end of the day, sure, you're recognized, but you're still not driving the car that you want. You're still not in the penthouse that you want to live in. It doesn't get you to the lifestyle that you want to do, and it doesn't make you financially free. If anything, it makes you more dependent because now you have to nurture an audience of viewers on top of that, and you're not getting any desired outcome out of it. And you're absolutely right. A lot of creators, a lot of businesses, they all struggle with how you can turn this content, especially in this new gold rush era that we're talking about, into sort of money. So, how you go about monetizing, right? There's a lot of ways. The number one thing is you need to first understand your brand, because if you don't understand yourself, you're not going to understand your audience. What is your brand itself? What is the content you're creating? If I'm a gym influencer and I'm creating gym content, everything that I do in terms of monetizing should be related to that, because you want to set up the direct funnel to where the people that are coming into your page resonate with you, and you're already one step ahead when it comes to selling them or whatever it is that your monetization tactic would be. So let's take that specific example of, let's say I'm a gym influencer, right? I'm a gym influencer. I make gym videos. I have 100,000 followers of people that love the gym community. They're all watch my videos. They ask me for advice on the gym. So what do I now? Now you see, what is there a demand for, right? In the gym space, what is there a demand for? Are you getting DMs from your people that are like, oh, bro, like, how do I do this certain training thing? Are you getting advice questions? Are you getting mindset questions like, yo, bro, how do you show up to the gym disciplined every day? Or are you just getting, hey, bro, I love your energy, would love to be around you? From there, you figure out what the right way is for you to monetize. If I'm getting DMs and everyone's like, hey, what is the right way to go about doing this certain exercise? Or, hey, bro, I noticed you did this certain thing in that video. What was that? I've never seen anyone do that before. Now you have leverage when it comes to, let's say, doing personal training, right? People have the demand for, oh, what is this guy doing? What is this exercise? And they're asking you for it already, which you will get as you get the numbers. You'll see certain people ask you for certain stuff. That's when you sort of create the platform of, oh, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and start a personal training business. And now everyone that's asking me these questions has a pathway to come into my brand and actually get something off of it.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, your content does a lot of selling. Like it's a very simple way, but it also needs to be curated the right way so people can one see what's your skill, how do you do that, how do you get a certain result for yourself, and let's just say if you have any clients, and that makes a huge difference. Like what kind of what's up?
I was just gonna say it needs to be personalized for you, because I can't be making gym videos and then go sell hats or underwear. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? You need to. It needs to be around what you're doing. So make sure that the content you're creating as well, when you are starting off or when you're on your journey, make sure that the content you're creating ties in with your long term vision. I see a lot of people doing like sort of that degenerate street interview thing, where they'll go on the streets and they'll interview people on like degenerate questions. I used to do it a good bit myself as well. But the end goal is, how do you monetize that? You know what I mean? That's not something you create money off of. Some people that did it well, I guess the minorities, they made a paid community where people like their energy. That is a very rare occurrence. If you see 99% of these people, they have the platform, they'll create the videos, but they're not monetizing at all. Like, they have some completely unrelated coaching program, or they have some completely unrelated business model that like people aren't going to care, because you don't demonstrate yourself as, oh, I'm a prominent figure in that niche. I know I'm an expert of this skill set, and this is how you make money off of it. So there's no really money in that. You need to make sure what you're doing you can actually monetize down the line.
100%. What are like some fundamental principles that people need to know when building their brands to set themselves up for the right way to actually monetize and actually grow their brand organically?
Yeah, so let's start off with the brand aspect itself, right? How do you create the best brand for yourself? There's a couple things that go into that. One, first, is who are you? You need to know yourself, right? Who are you? What are the type of person you want to attract? And what is the message you want to give? So there's two different types of content. I like to think about it as, actually, I would say three: educational, inspirational, and entertaining, right? So you can pick one of these three niches. What is it that you want to sort of be an industry leader in, or something along those? What is you want to be known for? Do you want to be the entertainer, the inspirer, the person that gives strictly knowledge? Who do you want to be? From there, now you have to basically go into your own self, your own brain, and be like, what am I good at, right? What is my skills? Everyone has a passion. Everyone has something they work a little bit harder on than other people. What is that for you? So if I'm really good at, let's say, I mean, I'm sure you've seen these as well. If I'm really good at chopping trees down with the axe, that's fine. Like that can be my thing. It's just whatever you are really good at, and everyone has their own thing. And I'm sure you've seen as well, if that particular example, some people literally just chop trees with an axe on YouTube or on Instagram, and they make money off of it. I mean, they monetize it. People love it. Like, whoa, this is satisfying. How is he swinging that axe? How is he cracking trees like that? There's always an audience, like I said again, for what you're trying to do. So first step of building that brand is, what do you want to be known for? Then you need to find out who you're trying to attract. Who do you want your fan base to be? Do you want them to be all little kids looking to get into entrepreneurship? Do you want it to be all gamers that love horror games? Do you want it to be all musicians that love to hear about instruments? Or do you want to be all like people interested in science, and you're an astronaut and telling them about like rare science discoveries? You know what I mean? So you kind of have to reverse engineer everything when it comes to this stuff. And then that's what I like to do a lot for everything I do, is you find out the end outcome is, I want to be making this content for this type of people. And then you go back and say, do I have the skills and the assets and the knowledge on it to actually do that? And when you do, that's your brand right there.
Mm. Yeah, because like your content basically attracts the type of people who you want. Like for example, if you just want to do like financial content, if you just post, as you said, like something that's completely unrelated, the audience is gonna be confused. And whenever you want to sell something, they're gonna be like, "Wait, this guy is talking about fitness and then finance and then cars." It's like, what is he trying to
That's
be?
another thing, bro. Is you need to have a niche. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Less is better in that sense, especially when it comes to social media. Because the thing is, no matter what you pick, you want to be number one. You don't want to be the fifth guy down the list in self help when it comes to that stuff. You want to be the one that's literally the top. Like, I'm the guy to go to, because that's how you really succeed off of the social media stuff. You'll get the little bit of views, but you're never going to be at the top chain. There'll always be someone who's in your niche that's killing it a little more than you. And guess what? He'll always get the most amount of money. He'll always have the business model starting up first, and he'll always sort of be on top of you. And that's not an advantage or a place you want to put yourself in. So the way you go about that is, you really need to determine a specific niche to where, who exactly am I coaching? Let's say I'm doing, again, that fitness training example, right? Am I doing fitness training for men or women? That's the first layer. So the first layer is, oh, let's say I want to do it for men only. Boom. So now I niched. Okay, I'm doing it for men. Now that's not enough of a niche, because how many coaches are doing fitness training for men? Right. And even then, that makes your service not as expensive, and you can't charge that much as a premium, because everyone else is doing it. They have options. You know what I mean? You want to make sure there's no market for anyone else, and you want to be the leader in that field. So what would I do in that case? Okay, how about I do fitness for men who are specifically war veterans? So let's say you're a war veteran. I want to do a fitness program for people who are specifically war veterans. Now that is super niched down, and that's the perfect thing to do, because you create content on fitness. Your program sells specifically to people that are war veterans, but open to everyone else. But at the end of the day, now that you are the expert in fitness for war veterans, you can charge a premium at it. So now you can charge a higher price point than anyone else, because that is your specialty. And the thing is, people will pay more for your expertise in that specific category, just because you relate directly to their scenario, rather than if I was like, oh, I do general male coaching, but then if you're a war veteran, we have this program, and if you're a student, we have this program. Then at that point, you kind of dipped your foot in too many puddles, and you're not a leader in any of them, and they're going to go to the leader in that field. If you're a kid, if you're a high schooler, they will go to the guy who specializes in fitness for high schoolers. Maybe they have programs that are at home and not as much at the gym if they can't afford it. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I get that. For example, why do you feel like a lot of people choose to go into the wider topics rather than niching down? Because I feel like, let's just say some people who have like a bit of different interests, they don't necessarily want to focus on one topic. They feel like they have too many interests. Is it like a good thing maybe in the long run? Because like for example, people like Joe Rogan, they have too many interests, and that's what made them unique. Like he's been able to sustain his longevity because of that.
Yeah. I will say there's definitely exceptions, and Joe Rogan being one of them. But then again, the exception doesn't make the rule when it comes to that case. You know what I mean? I would say in Joe Rogan's case particularly, he did great because he started off one way. And I think more than anything, it was his personality that attracted people to him. So it wasn't what he was talking about. I think it was just his charisma, his sort of energy around him, which is what brought people to him. So definitely an exception on that end. When it comes to people now, especially when you're starting off, started off the same way, where I was like, oh, I'm going to do this business and this business, and I'm going to do 5 different things, and my content is going to be yada yada yada. It's good for very very intro if you're doing testing to see what you like, but at the end of the day, you have to pick one, Bo, because the thing is You rather have 100 people watching you on one topic than 1,000 people watching you spread across 10. It doesn't help you in any way because, again, you're not dominating any field. It's kind of like you're kind of just a bench player that hops in whenever you need. You know what I mean? Like, you know how to play ball, but you're not the expert. Let's say you're on a football field, right? There's one player that can play every position, right? Do you think he's playing the most in the game? He's going to be benched for 90% of the time because what's going to happen is there's going to be one player that specifically plays quarterback, one that specifically plays linebacker. They're the experts of their field. Now, they're that guy that can play every position. Sure, he has the skill and talent to play every position, but he's not an expert at every position because he's good at all of them. So what's going to happen is whenever one needs to get subbed out, maybe he'll sub out the quarterback for him for a little bit of time. But as soon as the expert in that field, the quarterback, is ready to hop back into the game, that guy is sitting on the bench. So the guy that knows it all or is good at everything will always be less than the guy who's an expert at something.
I know. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, what would you say is like a simple way for people to kind of find out, okay, I want to go all in on this and I'm going to commit to this no matter even if the results don't come fast, but I'm going to commit to this because I feel like a lot of people have commitment problems with that aspect, like topics. I've had those problems too. That, like, for example, I stick to, like, let's just say, oh, I want to do fitness content, and then suddenly I change my mind. I do this because, like, you don't see the results that fast.
So the thing is with the results is the results are going to be same across the board no matter what you do. If you're making this sort of podcast content, you switch to fitness, the results are going to stay the same. Like you might see one little spike and then you're still going to plateau again. It's all a matter of repetition, no matter the field you pick. So that doesn't really change anything. Now what I say to the people who let's say like do change that much or are scared on like, oh, I'm not getting the results, I need to change. It's all a mindset thing at the end of the day to where anything will work as long as you stick on it long enough. If you have that sort of flea mentality of, oh, it's been a week, my videos aren't blowing up, I need to change, that's wrong. And that's sort of a mental hurdle that you need to break for yourself. That's a restraint that you put on yourself, which holds you behind because now you're zigzagging everywhere to 15 different content ideas. No one knows what you really stand for. Let's say, again, to that example of, let's say you get 1,000 views. Let's say two people in those 1,000 views that watched that video resonated with your stuff. Just two people. But in those two people, you made their day. You gave them knowledge they never heard before. They were like, wow, I really trust this guy. And they were going to watch the rest of your stuff. But then tomorrow you switch to fitness content. And all those two people go and they see a post from you. They're like, oh, okay, like, let's go. Like, I learned something yesterday. Let me see. And they click on it. And now it's like, oh, top 3 gym exercises for bigger biceps. And they're like, what the hell? Like, I followed this guy because he gave me podcast knowledge. Now I'm sitting over here like, I don't care about this. And what happens then? Boom, they stop engaging, you lose them. So at the end of the day, you really have to think about it on a microscopic level to where you have that impact. So whenever you think you don't have that impact, you need to move, you are making an impact. So you're leaving everyone behind that liked you on that original niche and transitioning it over to something else for no reason.
Mm. I'll bring you myself as an example. How would you go about, like, going, like, finding that specific one topic? Because I'm doing, like, more like podcast style videos, and usually there's like a wide variety of topics. Do you think it's better to stay like that or kind of pick one topic for those videos?
Yes. So what is your thing, right? I mean, you could even niche it a little bit out if you want, since you are, I think everyone needs a good bit of testing to where no one, when they start their first content type, is going to be the one that they make their life off of. You need to experiment a little bit. So again, just to clarify, I'm not saying don't experiment. I'm not saying only make one type of video your entire life. But the thing is if you have genuine confidence and a gut feeling that, hey, this is going to work, then you need to stick on it. And if you're 100% confident, this is what I want to do and I will make it work, then you need to stick on it because that's the only way it will work if you stick on it. Now, when it comes to your content, I mean, if you're doing podcast stuff like that, you could literally just niche it out to the whole genre of business. You could literally just make it like, I do podcasts on business, mindset, wealth, stuff like that, finances. I would just pick a little bit of a broader niche as you test and as you see what people relate to. Let's say they really relate to the social media talk, right? Let's say like, oh, I'm really into the social media stuff. He's giving real good value. Then I would start to niche down in it. So it's all seeing the data. People like this. I'm good at this. So let me go ahead and niche into this category.
Testing and seeing the results. Yeah, that makes all the difference.
It's all testing, bro. And again, you could have the broad niche right now of, oh, I do a podcast on business overall or business and mindset or social media in general. And these are very broad scopes, but inside it'll give you enough cards to play with too. You can really see like what's working and tailor accordingly.
Yeah, there's like enough variety in those topics. You can go a lot of like wider topics, or you can go kind of micro topics within those niches.
Yep.
Like, I know, like, with building, I mean, content itself, it's like we can go different routes with the topics and the niches, but what makes a good piece of content? What are some foundational things that, like, everyone should follow no matter what niche they're at?
Yeah, what makes a good piece of content? Good question. So, a couple things, right? It needs to go back to one of those three things. Does this provide knowledge? Does this inspire? And does this entertain? Your content needs to do at the bare minimum one of those things. There's content that does all three. That's probably the highest performing you should see. So, like streamers that you see, let's just take like the self help example, right? What do they do most of the time? They make like a funny insult, like joke, like masculine sort of energy type of thing. They give a solution, so they provide knowledge and they make it funny. So they're doing all three of these categories. So you'll see a lot of that being hit for the big streamers. Let's say take Sneeko for example, right? Sneeko does content that's religious, so it's informational. He makes it funny because he does a little bit of trolling in there. And there's also knowledge, so people are learning from it. So they kind of hit all three of these categories. It's also inspiring. So that's obviously the most ideal, but you also can just break down into one thing because that's what makes good content. So you want to make sure your content is hitting one of those three things, right? If not more. Now, as for the framework itself, I mean, it's a pretty A to Z framework for any good piece of content. I'll break that down for you. A lot of people don't understand this, and me saying this isn't going to make them understand anymore. But it really is the blueprint for any viral video or any video that's trending. So, how do you do it? As everyone knows, the hook. First 3 to 5 seconds, everyone says it. It needs to be engaging. It needs to attract your audience right off the bat. If I'm talking to pregnant moms, listen up. Even if something as simple as that, you need to address your audience in it right off the bat. That needs to happen in the hook, or you need to address the main point you're trying to do to where you need to capture that attention. There's also visual hooks rather than talking ones, to where I'm sure you've seen that trend where people get hit by a car and they'll transition it into some other video like an ad. So that's more of a visual hook, people expecting something. There's text hooks, watch till the end. I can't wait. I can't believe this happened. Something like that on the screen will get someone to stay. So there's a bunch of different ways to do it, but at the end of the day, you need a hook. Moving on to the framework, now you need to introduce a problem or explain a problem, right? So now you're hooked onto my video. Now I'm going to say, what is this video about, or what is your situation that I'm about to solve, right? So let's give a specific example. It might be a little easier. Let's go back to the gym thing. Now the next step from that is, what is the problem? So then you would go into a sentence like, a lot of people keep making these mistakes, and it's the reason that they haven't seen growth in their body parts for the last 2 years. Boom. Now you're introducing the problem. This is the situation that's going on. Now from there, you want to go right into solution, right? How do you provide a solution to the problem? Do you know what you're talking about? Then it's like, instead, try these exercises or be careful to these three things that you might be doing wrong. Number one, blah, blah, blah. Right. So now you're going into the actual nitty gritty. You're providing that value. You're sort of building that credibility with the viewer. At the very end of it, it's always a CTA, a call to action. But the call to action doesn't have to be, hey, go click something or go DM me something. A lot of times it's, oh, DM me something, or oh, click this link, or oh, look at this free training I have, something like that, for more on the business aspect. But a lot of times it could literally just be like, have a good day. You know what I mean? Or something as simple as like, hope that helps. These type of things are sort of a way to leave off almost at a good like standpoint. You leave off at a high, to where you're like, okay, I told you that you had a problem. I hooked you with the problem. Then I told you what problem you had. Then I told you the solution to your problem. Now I sort of set you off. So it's kind of, rather than just being like step three, this, boom, done. So you would be like step three, and then from there go into something like, make sure you avoid these mistakes and watch your gym progress grow, right? Obviously a very top off the top of my head example, but it sort of leaves it out. It closes it off with at a good point. You know what I mean? At a high level.
Now that makes sense. You need like a hook. You explained it perfectly. You need a hook. You need like a problem, and then a solution at the end, and a call to action. Everything connects together.
Yep. And it's a little bit different for entertainment videos. The hook thing stands for entertainment videos, or maybe even some different like educational ones. You need a storyline. That's a big thing when it comes to some of that type of content. If you're making strictly content that's entertaining, you need a storyline to where you still sort of need that problem aspect, but the problem isn't literally what is my problem, or I'm facing a problem. It could be as simple as something that's like, what's going to happen next, or a thing of curiosity, right? Or in this, let's say you're making a skit, like the guy's like, point of view something something, oh, what happens when that point of view happens, right? That within itself is sort of that problem solution dynamic, because the problem is what's going to happen, and the solution is, oh, that happened.
Like a cliffhanger type thing.
Exactly. It
Let's
needs
just
to
say,
be a story.
I don't like it's like a clip of like Aiden Ross saying, or like, Aiden Ross hanging up on 21 Savage or something. They're on a call, like, I don't know, some example like that. It's like people are like, oh, what happened? What is this? Kind of
Why
spikes.
did he hang up? Exactly. Or why did he hang up? And a lot of times people will start off with the hang up itself. So that's the hook right there. Then he'll go into, oh, what happened? Then he'll go into his conversation with 21 Savage. Oh, then he'll be like, oh, this is the problem, right? Is we need to figure out why he hung up. That's sort of the problem going on. They get the context, they get a little bit entertained from it, and boom, then 21 Savage does some crazy thing. He hangs up. Boom, now you get the solution. Oh, okay, that's why. Like that, we found the reason why he did it. We found the answer to the problem.
Yeah, I mean, you explained it perfectly, so that makes sense. Like with content in general, like that's, as you said, hooks are important, but I feel like there are some people who get basically copy paste the same hooks. What is like a way that you can stand out no matter which niche you're at? You know, because I feel like standing out is definitely a big part of growing your audience.
Yeah, I would say, bro, it's all about being genuine. A lot of people on social media, like you're saying, the people that repeat these hooks, they do this very like robotic sort of format where they have like the same editing style, the same talking style, the same sort of this is the problem I'm going to solve style. It doesn't work. You need to be wholesome. You need to be genuine. You need to, you know what I mean? You need to establish a relationship with the viewer. The viewer isn't watching you because you're like their dad or their school teacher. They're watching you because they see themselves in you. That's the only reason you'll gain a follower in the first place, is because they see a part of you or a part of themselves inside of you. So when it works, when you start to think like that, you begin to realize that, oh, I really need to talk to this guy like he's my brother or someone. The same way I'm talking to you right now is the same way I would talk to a camera, right? Because at the end of the day, that's really what it is. It's you talking to one person on a large scale. So rather than talking to one person, it's you talking to a group. But that same group with a lot of viewers, let's say you're mentioning those creators that use those same hooks. If they were in a room with those 100 people that is watching the video, rather than them talking to a camera, their whole tonality, their expressions, their passion behind the video, everything will be 180% different, bro. It'll be the complete opposite. So that's all what it comes down to, is you have to talk to it like you're genuinely talking to people, because that's what you are. And you have to be yourself, bro, at the end of the day. You can't fake it.
Mm. So basically, you're saying the best way to stand out is just being you, because there's only one of you.
There's no other way. Exactly. But you couldn't have said it better, bro. There's only one of you at the end of the day. And there's someone else in this world, I guarantee you, that you might be the biggest loser in your own headspace. But I promise you, there's someone out there that will look at you and be like, oh my God, you are my role model. You're where I want to be. You're on the same journey as me. And those people will find you if you continue to upload that content. So you have to be yourself, and you have to create content based on who you are. Don't try to fake anything. Don't be ingenuine. Just stay true to what you know. Stay true to yourself.
Mm. No, that's 100% true. With back to monetization aspect of content, what are some alternative ways that you feel like people can monetize content? Not necessarily be the creator themselves or be the main face, but what are some other things that they can monetize through content?
Yeah, so this is something more of what I do specifically, right? So let's go into a lot of monetization strategies. One of the things we can do monetization wise is paid community. As simple as, oh, I make content, but I don't want to sit there and sell a straight business or set up a whole thing. So a lot of things I do for some clients, and a lot of things that other people can do. Let's say you just really love science. Let's say I'm really into stars and scientific events and new scientific discoveries, and I've started making content on it. And now I grew a platform of 50,000 followers that all love science. And then these guys watch my videos. They like it. They love talking about what star meteor is going to fly in the sky today. What can you do off of that just to make some money? Start an online paid community, bro. Like join the community where we give VIP live information on all science events going on, how you can view them, the best times to view them, all this sort of private information that people can find on the internet. And this isn't things that they can't find. You're not giving them something exclusive, but you're saving them the 5 hours it's going to take to find it. So you take that information that's all online and available to you, you gather it in a way to where you can compose it into something small and organized for someone, and someone will pay to save them that 5-6 hours, because who has 5-6 hours to find every scientific event? But your team can do that. Set a price point. It could be $100 a month if your science viewers are like super into it. It could be $25 a month. It could be a $10 a month newsletter where they get sent new news events every week, and they pay $10 a month. And now you have 100 people in it, and you're making 1,000. You know what I mean? You have 1,000 people in it, you're making 10,000, and you have a 6-figure salary right there off of 1,000 people paying $10 for a newsletter. Now, other content things, let's say you don't want to be the face of it, but you do like creating content, you can create it for others. And I'm happy you mentioned that, actually. But I'm starting a more of an academy or a program where I'm actually training creators on how to monetize their training skills and their content skills into 6-figure businesses, right? So for the people who love making content or are good at making content, good at videography, editing, but they don't necessarily want to be the next Sneeko or the next Aiden Ross or Kai Cenat, there's a lot of ways to make money, and it's a lot more money than Aiden Ross and Sneeko and these guys will be making, just from the idea that you're going the strictly business route. And let's say you love creating content and I want my face in it. I create ads for other companies. That's what I do right now. So what I do in that scenario is you basically leverage my skills. Is I know what makes good content, I know how to make performing content, I know how to gauge intention, and I know how to gather views. And with that, now that I can gauge that intention, I can convert it into money. I can convert it into money for brands. I can go shoot for my local restaurant, bring them more customers in. So there's a lot of different ways to play it. But at the end of the day, if you want to do content and you don't want to be sort of a social media personality, you definitely need to get into the niche of going ahead and checking all these little businesses and creating for others. You know what I mean? Create for others and take a cut. Be the sort of back end. So be the expert that's like, hey, I know what I'm doing. Let me come into your life, create the content for you. And in exchange, you give me X thousand a month, or you figure out however you want to price your structure like that.
Basically, you're doing the systems and the backend stuff, like the how they film the content, editing, all this good stuff,
Yeah.
planning the content, and then they're just the main person. Either it's a
I'll tell
product
you,
or a person.
I'll tell you what I'm doing specifically. So my sort of program is going to be called Created. It's going to be called literally just Created, and it's basically training creators on how they can take the content skills and turn it into these businesses, right? So let's say someone comes in and they're like, "Oh, okay, what does this place do?" We'll bring them in first of all. What is your skill set when it comes to content, right? I'm not saying you need to be the best, but it is good if you already know something. And 99% of the time, most of the world at this point knows something. They've made a video before, whether it be a TikTok, they've edited something, they've posted something, they know how social media works, they've gotten some followers. So they come in, I have these skills. What do we do now? Okay, so let's say you're good at videography and you're good at editing, but you don't want to put your face on the internet. You don't want to be a personality. And even if you do want to be a personality, you still want to run a business to where you help others out as a social media expert. So what we do with them there is obviously we'll train them A to Z on this is how you make the proper type of content. This is the right design you need to do. These are the content formats that work. This is how you generate money off of it. There's funnels when it comes to social media, which a lot of people don't see, but it's the back end that goes into 99% of the content that you see on the internet. It all redirects somewhere else. Everyone redirects his attention. So we teach that specific funnel, how other people use it, and different options there are of that funnel. And from there, we go get them set up with multiple 6, 7 figure companies, and they then create content for these companies. And these companies pay them on a monthly basis or on a percentage basis to where, oh, okay, you're creating my content. I'm running ads on it. I'm making great results on it. Or maybe they're even just making a social presence off of it. Like I'm sure you've seen like Wendy's and all these companies are now doing this Gen Z style of content on Instagram. Like you could be that guy for someone else to where I'm good at creating content. Let me go create it for some major 6, 7, 8, 9 figure company and run all their social media. And you can bring in these clients and you're bringing in a multiple 6 figure, 7 figure income off of it.
Mm. Yeah, that's a very interesting way to go about it because I feel like a lot of people want to be the main person like of the content stuff, but there's like a whole different industry behind like what's going on behind it, like all the back end stuff and the systems that you can provide to create those content in the first place. Like I feel like a lot of people, as much as like a lot of people want to create content and build their own personality brands, there is a lot of demand to do the back end stuff, so you can be the supply
People
for that demand.
People don't know that. That's the thing. People think that the only way to really play social media cards is to sort of go viral with their own content or become their own social media figure. That's not ideally too. It's not the best way to make money because most creators that strictly just create content again don't know the first thing about business and they don't know how to make money off of it. And a lot of times they have the views, but now they have no money and they're still in the same spot that they were before they started, just with views. You know what I mean? And more responsibility on their plate now. So a lot of people don't realize actually, which is a good thing you do that really back end layer that goes into it to where these people that are creating one need help. Businesses that are not in this generation, right? Like a majority of the businesses that we know we buy from, their owners are not 21 years old. They don't know the Gen Z stuff. And when you can show them the value of attracting attention from a modern day audience, from the future economy of Earth, then you can start to leverage it in exchange of getting paid from these companies to actually run this sort of service for them. And the thing is too, a lot of people think you can't do both. You can easily do both. You can make your own content and be an industry leader here and have your own personality, but you're also drawing in the cash flow from there. And it even will help you to where if I'm known and recognized as a public figure, I can go ahead and leverage that into my business to where, hey, look, I did it for myself. Let me do it for your company.
No, that's a very smart way to go about it because number one, you're diversifying the way you make money from content, and two, it's like it's a pretty proven system because you don't necessarily have to rely on the audience buying something from you or waiting to make like a certain type of content to nurture them and then close them and all this stuff. You can literally just do it by working with actual businesses.
The good part is you already have an advantage to where this business is already making money. There's already buyers. They already have information on a consumer base. You don't need to sit there and let's say you don't have 10 hours a day to go sit and build your own company. You don't need to sit there and do that. All you really need to do is go ahead and find a company that needs your help or needs your service or can use your service, even if they don't know it. Show them the value of it and then start working with them on it. And the thing is, too, these results, if you really know what you're doing when it comes to creating content, is so easy to get. And these companies sleep on it so much that the moment that you get it and you start showing these companies how this modern day Gen Z marketing works, you'll blow their minds. And not only that, but all it really takes is one company. And once you do a good job, they'll have 10 other people that they know that are their friends with other founding companies reach out to you. You'll have other personal people reach out to you. Your whole life gets made basically off that one thing. And I had a similar experience. I mean, when I first started this thing as well, I had a couple companies reach out to me, and like I'm telling you, like they really don't know. Like I pitched the idea of I think street interviews and some UGC content, very very simple, and they were like, oh, like that's weird. Like you're gonna go interview people on the street about my product. I'm like, yeah, like watch. And then I did it, and they made a 7 times return on their first month off of it, and they're like what the hell? Like how is this guy interview like this? This looks so like poor. This looks so not premium. This doesn't look like that commercial that you run on TV or Facebook 10 years ago. This isn't something I'll put on a billboard in Times Square, but it's making me 7 times the amount of sales. And the thing is, from our end as well, from the creators that understand the game, it's so much easier than marketing used to be. I don't need to make TV level commercials because I know how to sell to the new audience, because the new audience doesn't watch TV commercials. They watch brain rot.
No, that's true. Like the authenticity aspect of like content and marketing, like is like a powerful wave like a lot of people are using. And I feel like, as you said, like a lot of bigger companies are not utilizing because it's a trend to, have the craziest angles and equipment and lighting, and then all this like very like kind of, it feels fake. It doesn't come off as genuine, and it feels like you don't necessarily, it just looks good. It's basically about it.
The way to sell nowadays is all personalization. You need to build a relationship with the person you're selling to. Before it was, oh, look at my product. My product's good. You should buy it. Now it's, oh, you mess with me. You should buy it. That's how the world works now. And that's how social media people actually monetize. It's, oh, you resonate with me. That's why you should buy it. It all runs on trust, and you can't build trust from the traditional sort of commercial method anymore. It's all a very different type of marketing.
Yeah, 100%. Like a lot of these companies are using this attention economy, but that they don't necessarily utilize it in an authentic way,
They're not
and
doing it
that's
right.
why like they're struggling with that. So I feel like, especially with the attention economy, I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on it. Like they're mainly on the consumer aspect. They're not necessarily utilizing it for themselves. Like,
Yeah.
how would you recommend the people who are constantly, as you said, just watching brain rot stuff and wasting a lot of time? How would you recommend them to actually take advantage of this attention economy?
I mean, bro, if you come down to it, if I scroll for an hour, that's an hour gone in my life, right? That's an hour of time right there. All you really have to do is substitute. If you want to get out of that bubble of, oh, I can't stop scrolling on Reels, which I scroll on Reels too all the time, by the way. But if you want to get out of that bubble of, oh, I need to stop scrolling on Reels, all you really need to do is spend that hour that you spend scrolling and spend it creating. Literally just flip the dynamic to where instead of sitting there and I'm going to be someone who consumes content, I'm going to sit there for that 1 hour and I'm going to create it. And I was talking to one of my friends about this earlier, is the fact that I scroll too to the point where it's bad. Like sometimes I catch myself, I'm sitting in bed, I'm like, it's been 30 minutes and I'm like, shit, like I'll get up in 2 more minutes, still scrolling half an hour later. So the way I go about that, and it's pretty interesting. I don't think other people would do this, but they can, is I didn't necessarily stop the scrolling. Like it's not like, oh, discipline 1 2 3 method, throw the phone away, lock it in another room, buy some app or service that's gonna help me get off of it. I just made it incentivized for me to scroll. So I made it to where when I scroll, I've set my algorithm to where I get knowledge that helps me when it comes to marketing for other companies, other people. I understand the market. I get very valuable information out of it. And I'm consuming content that's actually good for my business, to where that 1 hour that I do catch myself scrolling, I'm learning something which then tailors back into my business. So the whole time you could say it technically was work. So scrolling could be work if you play your cards correctly.
It's just framing it the right way so you can actually profit from it.
Exactly. If I sit there and I scroll on everything and everything I'm watching is providing some sort of value when it comes to marketing or my personal content or some sort of inspiration, direction, mindset, at the end of the day, that's all good information to have in you. When you're sitting there watching like LeBron memes and people dipping their face in ice water, obviously is not the most ideal thing. But if I look at that ice water video and I frame it from an outside perspective of, oh, this is going super viral, rather than watching it from a one person playing field and be like, oh, ha ha ha, so funny. Like you take a step out, what if I did this for a company? Like if you see Scrub Daddy, I know everyone knows Scrub Daddy off of Shark Tank. They did it. See how they just took the dynamic and they flipped it into their product, and now they probably made so many more sales and followers from that because they're like, oh, Scrub Daddy is this funny Gen Z company doing this marketing of this trend I've seen.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, because I personally use it. Again, I scroll it, I scroll and I come across a lot of interesting content and take inspiration from it. I start, see how they did it. I put my own twist behind it, and I just, post my own version of it. And
Yeah.
that's how I kind of like make sure to at least get something out of it, even if I scroll.
That's all it is, bro. Is that if you are really stuck in that loop of I can't stop scrolling, at least make it worth your while.
Hmm. Do you feel like AI is going to replace like the creators, or at least have a negative impact on creators in general?
No, I don't think so. I think if anything, it would ease in terms of content production, building up funnels, just giving ideas, content ideation. It'll help with all that. I mean, sometimes I use AI to generate some ideas of content. I know it does a lot of scripting now too. If you really wanted to, you can have AI write the scripts for you. But at the end of the day, like I said, genuine is best because the people only watch you because they see themselves in you. And when you use robots, it comes out robotic. It's not genuine. There's no human connection there. So at the end of the day, there'll never be a point where AI will, actually, for lack of better words, it will never be a point. I don't know. But hopefully, there's never a point where AI gets to the point where it can be more human than a human itself. You know what I mean? So you really need that human connection for the social media stuff to work out. At the end of the day, I only watch someone because I resonate with them or they're on the same journey or they inspire me. And I just don't see anyone at this current moment being inspired by a robot telling you what to do.
Yeah, the authenticity part is very hard to relate, especially if people use AI to make videos, or actually AI itself starts making videos. Like the human connection is a huge part of it.
They don't have flaws, bro. That's the problem. Is AI doesn't have flaws, and you need flaws if you want to succeed with anything in life because that's what makes you human. The only thing that separates us from a robot is the fact that we're not perfect. You know what I mean? That AI can be trained to give the perfect answer every time with 99.9% certainty. But we make mistakes. We stutter when we talk. We maybe don't have the best head movement, whatever it may be. But that genuinity and that humanity is what really separates us in the first place. And I don't think that can ever be replaced.
100%. And I feel like that's why like communities are like a huge thing now. Like people are seeking those human connections, and it cannot be replaced.
Yep. The whole wave of content now is all how do I relate to this guy? Okay, I'm gonna watch his stuff. That's the whole market.
Hmm. What are some ways you can use AI to utilize, for your content, besides the idea generation part?
Honestly, I wouldn't go with any AI editors as of now. I was always opt for an outside editor, maybe outsource it, do it yourself, whatever it may be. It's just not advanced enough yet, and it really doesn't understand the game. It has a very generic template, but the thing is, if everyone uses that generic template, you're really not getting anywhere because people don't care, right? They see the same thing over and over again. I would say if you do any sort of picture work, I mean, there's good AI opportunity there, but really the power lies within the ideation where it comes to creating new content, creating scripts. Even if it's like, hey, I don't know what to do, ChatGPT, but I'm good at this, this, and this, and I want my target audience to be this, and I don't know how I should get there, but can you give me some content ideas to maybe help me out? And they'll be like, sure, here are some content ideas. Oh, I don't really resonate with that one this much. What if we do this spin on it? Oh, okay, how's this? The AI says, oh, cool. Yeah, I just don't really know what to say. Do you mind writing me a script on it? And boom, now you have a perfect script for a video that you can go film right now, and it relates to what you wanted to do in the first place.
No, that's true. Yeah. I use it sometimes for ideation too. But with scripts, I feel like whenever I've used it, you have to kind of train it a lot to kind of give you like a more an authentic script,
Yeah,
rather than just kind of like a generic one. Hey, do this, do that, to kind of like add.
no, you're right.
And to wrap things up, this is like, as you said in the beginning of the video, you said 90% of this whole game is mindset. So what's like the mindset that you feel like people need to thrive in this game?
When it comes to social media, bro, it needs to be repetition. Everything in life is done with repetition. Like we talked about that basketball example. People need to go into the mindset, enjoying the journey to where I genuinely enjoy posting this content every day, whether it gets 2 views or 1,000, because I poured my heart into it and it's something I'm passionate about. And I want to show the rest of the world what I'm passionate about. So you need that mindset thing to where you need to be able to post every day without it having a detriment on you or having a patience level of anything of that sort. Two, you need to be genuine. Your mindset needs to be 100% transparent with your intentions. If your intention is to just make money off of it, just create content about making money off of it. You know what I mean? You don't have to act like You don't have to act like the guy who super cares about your feelings when you're just trying to make a buck. It's actually going to be counterproductive. Whereas if you're like, hey, I'll make you money, just pay me this, you'll have a better relationship or a better like success story with that. So it's being genuine, being disciplined. Obviously, you need to be consistent. Consistency is the root of everything. To where you need to. I'm not saying you need to post every day or post 3 times a day, but you need to have a schedule for yourself and you need to hold yourself accountable to it. So where if I say, even if I'm posting 2 times a week, I stick to it and I make sure I post those 2 times a week. Those are the 3 things I would say you really need. And other than that, man, as long as you're true to yourself and you're doing the best you can every day, I always like to say you don't lose until the day you quit. So if you don't stop, you'll never lose.
100%. Like there is no losing if you don't quit.
Exactly.
All lessons. Is there something that you are working on currently that you want to like plug? I know you're doing your.
I would say just that creative thing. I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, I'm literally about to launch this week, so it's super crazy how that timing sort of lined up. But yeah, I am launching Created. It's going to be a complete A to Z on how creators or people who are interested in social media space and have knowledge in editing, videography, anything of that sort, and they have their content skills and they want to leverage it to turn it into a 6-figure business. I mean, we'll teach them how to do it, whether it's their own creating thing, but typically it would be for other people who are creating for other businesses on the back end and actually making money off of that while they grow their personal brand on the side, if that's something they want to do.
Got it. Yeah, man. Then people know where to find you. Then they're gonna see the product when you release it.
Yes, sir. DM me on Insta. He'll pop it up on the screen, and that's all for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna put his link in the description so it's easy to find.
Perfect.
Appreciate you for coming on, man.
Of course, brother. Thank you for having me. It's been fun.